Well, it's been roughly 6 months, end of October to the 1st of April, that I did the 4-step protection on my wife's car, starting with the ceramic polish and wax as a base, the ceramic graphene paste wax, and then the flex wax. Then almost 24 hours later, topped off with Slick Shine graphene spray detailer. It has not been washed in any way since October, and from the looks of the rims and the brake dust and the tires, it's kind of obvious. If we go down the car, you can tell it's, compared to the way it was, it's kind of dull. We've got good amounts of dirt built up. The door jambs are nasty. The car is just generally really dirty. So today, it's about 53 out, which is incredibly warm for Ohio right now. I'm going to start from scratch, deep wash, get all the door jambs, edges around the trunk, all that good stuff, rims, tires. Once it's dried off and completely done, I'm going to start with the Dr. Beasley's NSP 45 like I did on the Camaro. I'm going to rub the car really well. This time, however, instead of a Eurofiber pad, I'm going to use an orange Lake Country pad, because although this has some light marks in it, I don't know if you can see them, there's a few here and there. Since it wasn't washed improperly or otherwise, there's no surface marring. So other than being extremely dirty and kind of dulled, the car's in good shape, does not need a correction. An enhancement will be more than enough. So after the Dr. Beasley's, I'm debating, do I pull it in the garage and do it undercover, or do I try that Nxtzen 365 Pro outside? I haven't decided yet. I don't know if I really want to play musical cars, pull the Camaro out, move this one, and then move this one in, and go from there. I might, I don't know yet. If I put it in the garage, I can hook up my laptop and watch or listen to YouTube as I'm detailing. So I'll get started on this. I'll bring the tripod out and let you see the initial water behavior on the dirt encrusted car. I won't take you around for the wash or the cleaning or anything like that. You've all seen how I've done it, and it's kind of boring. But when it comes time to rinse, I will show you the water behavior and see how much protection, if any, is left over from that 4-step. Then I'll dry the car. Yeah, I'll probably pull it in the garage, why not? I'll put you up on tripod for a few section passes of maybe the hood and a fender with the Dr. Beasley's. Go ahead and polish the car out, and then put the first layer of Nxtzen 365 Pro. Bring you in for that. So this one shouldn't be very long of a video. It'll be in a bunch of different pieces. I'll just have to stitch them together before I post. So let's get started. Okay, so the dirty part is done. Wheels and tires have all been scrubbed and are clean. And we're going to start with the spray rinse, the initial rinse. Now keep in mind that some of the reason there's not going to be much water reaction is because of the layers of dirt and crud that are built up on the car. Some, but not all of it. So there's going to be, I know there's a difference between the tops of the fenders and doors and the bottom, because during the rain the tops usually beat up fairly well for 6 months, but the bottoms are dead flat. That's partially because of the dirt that's attached itself to the car. But like I said, not all of it is because of that. I'm quite sure that The coating, the system that I put on is well on its way to failing on the sides. The tops probably not as much, but in this kind of weather, the sides are the ones that take the most abuse from the tire spray. So let's see how it does. Well, the hood is pretty much dead flat. It's sheeting very, very slowly up here in the corner. I don't know how well you can see that, but the center of the hood, the middle, all that, nothing at all. The protection is most likely completely gone. Not too bad for over-the-counter products at 6 months. And for an Ohio winter, which granted this year it wasn't bad, but still cold and being neglected for almost 6 months does take its toll on anything. This car will be the second one that I'm trying the Nxtzen 365 Pro on. My car is the garage queen, always garaged, rarely out, always washed and topped off with that ceramic express. This one sits outside 24/7. It's driven more and not cared for quite as well as the Camaro is. Let's see the sides. Once again, pretty much dead flat. Some very slow sheeting, even up at the tops. A couple of odd spots beading a little bit, but I'd say this coating at 6 months is pretty much gone. So I'm going to get on with the wash. I'll bring you back for the flood rinse to see if there's any difference, but I just don't think there's going to be much difference at all. See you in a bit. As you can see, it's done washed. It's been spray rinsed. All the nooks and crannies, door jambs, etc. have been scrubbed out and rinsed. The only thing left to do is the flood rinse. It did get a boost in gloss, depth, and reflection, but that was just from getting rid of all the dirt that was baked on or caked on and been sitting there for months. However, I noticed that while rinsing it, everything was pretty much completely dead. The flood rinse is going to kind of be pointless, but I'll do it anyway just to show that there's nothing left on this car as far as protection, although the paint is still in fantastic shape. That's what happens when you take care of the car and don't take it through a tunnel brush wash during the winter. Now, because of that, this just needs a mild enhancement to bring the gloss and clarity back to where it's supposed to be, and then prep that for the ceramic coating. So let me get the hose here. As you can see, the water is sheeting just a touch faster, but really that's about it. Just a touch faster. Come here on the sides. Mirror. Even the mirror, as high up as it is and out of the spray, it's dead. It looks like there might be something on the glass because it's sheeting extremely fast, so it might have stayed there, but the rest of the car, Nothing. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll flood rinse it anyway. I'm going to take a slightly different approach to drying because I'm not going to more or less waste my good towel. I'm going to let it mostly air dry, drip dry, so to speak. And then I'll give it a few minutes to do that, let most of the water run and evaporate off. Then I'll bring the leaf blower out, blow all the cracks and crevices. And then I'll just take a regular microfiber and wipe it down. Non-waxed cars seem to be more difficult to dry because it actually grabs the water and holds on to it. So despite the fact of me going over it with a microfiber to absorb the water, a lot of it's going to stay stuck to the car and just evaporate naturally. So figure about 40 minutes from now, I'll be able to pull it in the garage and start the prep work. I'll bring you back then. That's washed, dried, finally. And now that it's back in the garage, you can see that the color and clarity has returned after the wash. But if you come up and feel it, very sticky, not smooth. It's smooth, but there's no slickness whatsoever to it anywhere on the car. I'm going to put the Dr. Beasley's NSP 95 over the car. I'm going to work it in real well, just like I did on the Camaro. It doesn't have nearly the defects the Camaro did because this one has been cared for by me. It didn't receive any tunnel washes or brushes, which would have screwed the finish up. And as you can see, I'm going to use, that's probably way more than enough to do the entire hood and probably the driver's side fender as well. But the Dr. Beasley's was sitting on top of the dryer, so it got a little warm and it's running really well. Came out a little too quick. So I'm going to go ahead and do the hood, see how much is left after I rub the hood out real good. If there's enough, I'll move over to the fender just as a quick demonstration or reminder of how this stuff works. Use half as much, buff it twice as long. That's per Dr. Beasley's. And if you're into detailing at all, you know the name Mike Phillips. He was with McGuire's for a long time. He then moved to Auto Geek, and now he's working for Dr. Beasley's. He watched the last video I did using the Dr. Beasley's and approved of my technique. And that in itself is a huge attaboy coming from Mike with his experience and his knowledge and training. Having him say you did a good job is definitely something to brag about. So here we go. Stupid extension cords getting in the way of everything, moving the cameras. Turns out that was just enough to perfectly do the hood. There are a few water spots here and there because I let it air dry, but this seemed to take them right up. They weren't embedded. They weren't on very long enough to get embedded or really stick themselves. So let's see what the wipe off is like when it's a good 25 degrees warmer than the last time I did it. Last time it was about 30. It's about 54 now, which is a very huge difference. I'm hoping that I'm kind of hoping that the products didn't work up to specs because it was so cold. Not that I'm having any issues on the Camaro. It's doing really great as far as durability and holding up and water beating over time. Let's see if it does it better now that the temperatures are at a more reasonable level. So let's get to the wipe off. Well, once again, the wipe off is insanely easy. It's just a touch grabby when you first start to remove it, but not as bad, not nearly as bad as some of the others I've used. Very smooth underneath the towel now. So I'm going to go around, finish up the car. I'll probably bring you back when I go to put the 365 Pro on there. Let's just see how it does in the temperatures, being a 20-some degree difference. So I'll be back in a little bit for the coating. Yeah, here it is all done. I got pretty much everything last night. Got the first coat of the Nxtzen 365 Pro applied. I did the windows that had water spots on them from the wash, since I didn't really dry it. Found out that window cleaner plus a magic eraser plus a cotton diaper makes windows perfectly clear, removes all the water spots. Is there a difference between applying the 365 Pro in 30 degree weather versus 50 degree weather? As far as application and removal, the process itself, not really. It applies the same. It's still insanely easy. But when it comes to the actual removal and the slickness, I thought it was slick before. Well, I was wrong. Applying it in the warmer temperatures, when you remove it, you can feel it is insanely slick. Especially so with the second coat, which I did this morning. I also found out that you can apply it in direct sun. However, I hope you like smears, because it will smear on you. Not terribly bad, but enough to where if you're even a little OCD, it's going to bother you. So fortunately that was just on the roof, which I did last. I'm quite sure they faded or melted in or whatever it is they do, but I'm not climbing back up on the ladder to find out. As you can tell, the color, clarity, depth, and reflection are outstanding. I have a feeling I'm going to redo the Camaro now that the temperatures are up, because just going on the slickness improvement between 30 degrees and 50 degrees, I have a feeling it's going to hold up a lot better on this car than it did on the Camaro. Now, I didn't include applying the Nxtzen 365 Pro in this video because I happened to add up all the little segments, and it's a lot longer than I anticipated. But I did want to give you an after shot. The sun's cooperating today, no clouds, so you get to see what this thing looks like. Any comments, let me know.